Brief introduction of Dr. Singh. Dr. Tirtha Singh did his PhD in bioinformatics from MANIT Bhopal and a postdoctoral fellow from Tel Aviv University, Israel. Dr. Singh has joined JOIT in July 2010, and since then he is working on various aspects of genomics and proteomics. Dr. Singh has a wide experience in the areas related to neurodegenerative diseases, particularly for dementia diseases, and particularly for Alzheimer's, and having an expertise in system biology, molecular evolution, and functional genomics. He is also exploring DNA repair mechanisms and their role in human metagenomics. He has received funding from various government agencies, which includes DST, DBT, and ICMR. Dr. Singh has guided more than 50 students in the capacity of as a supervisor for PhD, MTech, MSc, and BTech. Over to you, sir. Dr. Singh, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jitendra, for elaborative introduction. And very good morning to one and all present here. As Dr. Jitendra told you that I am working here in JP University of Information Technology since last 11 years. And my area of teaching and research is bioinformatics, as you are already aware of with the information that was circulated. So I have planned a talk in such a way. So I would like to first introduce you this relatively new area, which is now not new even, but it has several other branches and associations, which are really interesting to explore if you want to learn a lot about the academics as well as research. And then I will take you to a little journey of the research work that my lab is doing, and especially on Alzheimer's disease and human malignancies, or you can say cancer. And after that, I will show you some of our students who did BTech bioinformatics from here, either PhD also, and then they are doing wonderful and they are settled all over the world. So this is how I will go with the flow. So once again, welcome you all, and I will just share my screen with you, and then we can start the presentation. If you have any queries in between, you can just put it in the chat box. So please let me know if my screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as you can see, I tried to put some GIF over here just to give you a glimpse of bioinformatics. Very dynamic field, lots of input that is coming from biological sciences, biomedical sciences, and then we are trying to explore them to gain some insightful, some knowledge, some really biologically meaningful information through this domain. So this is a little slide about me, the talk that I started like a new beginning to applications-based province with case studies on human diseases, where I will try to cover at least 2 types of diseases that we are working on. This is Center of Excellence in Healthcare Technology and Informatics, CEHTI. So I am coordinator for this center also, that is related to bioinformatics only. So this is the logo of CEHTI. This is the logo of my university, JP University of Information Technology, which is situated in the beautiful view of Himachal. As you know, we call it like Devbhumi, but you can see the aerial view of my campus. Currently, I'm sitting here in this academic block. And this is the whole campus of JP University, beautifully structured in the hills of Devbhumi. Now, let's come to the topic that we want to discuss about it, like bioinformatics. You know what it is and why do we need it? That's really important because we would like to have a complete understanding of the biological systems. But when we talk about the biological entities, you talk about DNA, RNA, proteins. You can go with the cells, the organelles, organisms, clinicians, environment, biomolecules, and signaling networks or other kind of biological networks. So all kind of data that is available actually is having all its dimensions to explore it. And this is how we try to explore bioinformatics to deal with all kind of biological information. Now, as you know, this is one of the most interdisciplinary area of the world. This I'm mentioning here, one of the most interdisciplinary area of this whole globe. Why? Because it is involving so much from science and engineering disciplines. You look at the data that is coming as biology, chemistry, it can be from physics and other computational sciences. Then you have methods which are basically developed from statistics or information sciences. That includes mathematics, computer science, information technology. You have data from medicine, health professionals, clinicians, and biomedical data also. So there is no limit. You have data from animal sciences, you have data from plant sciences, you have data for microorganisms, you have data for higher organisms also. So there is no limit of the data. And the data type that is available to us is so much diversified that we need high level computations, high level methods to deal with this kind of data. And for that, this area is growing in parallel along with the development of biological sciences, development of biomedical sciences, as well as development of computational sciences. And then once we are having this data, we need the methods. First to collect the data, then to store it in a proper way, then to disseminate the information that is being generated by the analysis of this data to the scientific community. And that is how we are doing it in the background. So we need biological sciences and as well computational sciences. And this is how this area is growing. So very interdisciplinary area. In sweet and simple definition, if you want to describe it, like bioinformatics is the creation and development of advanced information and computational techniques for solving problems in biological sciences, biomedical sciences, or health sciences. Now, how this area was born. So there is a little history behind that. I should say a beautiful child named Bioinformatics was born, and that was with the amalgamation of mother as biological science and father as information sciences. So mother and father, they gave a birth to this beautiful child that we are calling it bioinformatics. And that's why the name is bioinformatics. There is another name. Sometimes people are using the name like computational biology. So we know that 70 to 80% domains are being overlapped between these two areas. You talk about bioinformatics, you talk about computational biology, but there is a thin line, and that I want to tell you. When I say, okay, I'm starting a term bioinformatics, it means I am starting with bio and I'm going towards informatics. So it is more related to the biological sciences because we would like to utilize the computational techniques that are available to utilize it for biological data analysis. And that's why the name is bioinformatics. When you look at the computational biology, what will happen? You are starting with the computational term. So it is more towards the development of computational algorithms, methods, and databases. And then you utilize them for the collection of data that is biological in nature. And that's why the term computational biology came. So this is how the bioinformatics and computational biology thin line can be differentiated. Now, if you look at the objectives of bioinformatics, I categorize them into majorly three. Like first is you organize the data in a way where you can allow the researchers to access the existing information and to submit the new entries as well. Because every day, lots of people are generating data at experimental level all over the world in laboratories. So the newly generated data has to be accumulated over there. Then you need to develop tools and resources also, which can aid in the analysis of collected and organized data. And then you have to use these tools to analyze the data and then interpret them in a biologically meaningful way. So this envisaging of this data, how you are going to predict it, that is really interesting. And that is how this bioinformatics domain is helping us. So these are the major objectives available with us. Now, you know the National Institute of Health, USA, and they are working on some project that is NCBI, National Center for Biotechnology Information. So this NCBI is maintaining so many repositories also for various kind of data that is related to genomic content, proteomic content. So if you look at the data, like if you want to go for the Medline data, means public version of Medline. So they created one specific resource that is PubMed. All kind of biomedical literature is available in this database. So public version of this Medline is PubMed. Then you have this online Mendelian inheritance in man. So all the genetic related data is available over here. Then GenBank for genomic data, SwissProt for proteomic data, PDB for structure of the proteins and other biomolecules. So all kind of databases are being developed. And this is the growth of the bioinformatics domain, how the things were growing on as per the requirements. What kind of data is there, how you are going to store it, how you are going to analyze it, and how you are going to predict new hypothesis out of it. All these things were going in parallel. And this is how we were talking in terms of the development of this domain. Now, if you look at the some of the open problems in bioinformatics, like you want to find the genomes of all the organisms, and then you identify all the genes in each of the organism that you want to sequence, then you want to annotate all the genes, then you would like to compute the sequence and three-dimensional structure for all the proteins that you are studying. You want to compare DNA protein sequences for similarity, maybe. You want to compare families of DNA protein sequences. And there are many open problems available in bioinformatics. Now, the thing is, why we are optimistic? Because we know that biology is finite in nature. If we say, okay, there are around 30,000 genes, now people are publishing that, okay, there are 21,000 or maybe 19,000 genes in human, because, you know, the higher organisms you go, the system is a little complex. You look at the bacterial system or the microorganisms, your genomic system is little easier. Then you have superfamilies of the protein also. And we know that computational powers are improving. And that's the beauty. And that's why we are optimistic that, yes, whatever problems are here, we will be able to solve them. According to some of the very pioneer researchers, they told that still biology have almost 500 years of research. And out of that, and this statement was given almost 100 years back. So still you have at least 400 years of research in biology. So you can see how the data will be coming and you are going to analyze it. And bioinformatics is one of the best tools for doing this kind of annotations. Now, I just want to focus on few things related to Human Genome Project, because this is one of the major accomplishment through bioinformatics also. So Francis Collins, he was the chairman of this NIH project for Human Genome. And Francis Collins compared this achievement of sequencing human genome with two other great events of the century, you can say, or even more than that, if you look at the time scale, which includes splitting the atom and going on to the moon. So he compared those two great events with this Human Genome Project sequencing, because that was not just the Human Genome Project. This was actually the indicator of, like, now you will have the genome accumulation, genome sequencing of multiple organisms, multiple lineages of organisms. And then based upon that, we can explore this whole biological world. And that was the background information. So that's why he compared this with great event. Plan was to look at the annotation of, first we need to identify all the genes, maybe their location, function, and then we need to store them in public databases. We need to improve the tools for analysis and the function prediction also. And then we have to address some ethical, legal, and social issues also. Here I provided one link. Some interesting Human Genome Project related videos are available. If you want to go through that, you can look at that. Like when you are looking for something in a pile, then you can see that, okay, I think I found a corner piece. This person is saying, one scientist is saying. So when you are organizing this much of complex data, these things are there. You are actually trying to organize 3 billion base pairs in a sequence. This is how we are going to do it. There are some ethical, legal, and social implications also. We call them as ELSI, which may arise from Human Genome Project. Suppose nowadays technologies are there with the advent of high throughput technologies. Your genomic information might be available to your boss or maybe to the employer. Then what will happen? He might be knowing your genetic profile also. Then thing is that the boss is saying to the employee that you are lazy, you are unproductive, and frankly, you have got a lousy genome. So this kind of things can also be available. And that's the ELSI, that is ethical, legal, and social implications. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about future also. If you say you have the organism, the estimated size of the organism, and the estimated number of genes. Okay. Now, normally you go to the supermarket, you pick a basket, and you go for the shopping. So this is, I'm telling you, the future. Maybe if you are not going to see, your children or grandchildren will definitely see this. So you go to the supermarket and you will see, okay, genomes are on sale. Maybe human genome, human of different kind, chimpanzee, butterface, and so many other organisms genome is already available, and some are on sale also. Some might be having some discount also. So you can have a separate sequencing department. You go there, you purchase that, you put it in a USB, you put it on computer, and you see how it is looking, how you want to play with it. And this is the beauty. So this feature vision is like, if we say, okay, Flipkart we are talking about, Amazon we are talking about, so we can have like genome cart. This is just virtual from my side. So we can have like genomecart.com. And as you know that if Flipkart is from IITians, then normally I am telling it to my student like maybe genome cart from JOITians. Apply this coupon and get 20% additional discount on a particular sequence. So I'm telling you this future vision, this online genome mega store. And it can happen for sure, because there are so many things that were expected 20, 30, 40 years back. Now we can see them. We can visualize them clearly. This is the vision that I'm telling you will happen for sure soon. So this is what I was telling you. A Flipkart from IITians, then genome card from JUITians, or any other university or any other institute or school kids who are already here in this presentation. Maybe they can also plan similar things. Now, just want to give you a glimpse of like what does a bioinformaticist do. They design new mathematical models, new algorithms and programs to analyze the data. They also create database for the representation of data. They build graphical user interfaces and visualization tools for examining data. And they also play a role in the society to help convey and interpret important scientific concepts for others. And definitely, they work in association with biologists, and they expertly employ the vast array of tools for biological data analysis. They also discover new hypotheses related to the structural, functional, and evolutionary aspects of biomolecules under consideration. So this is the role or job of a bioinformaticist or a computational biologist, as they are working in association with biological, biotechnological, or biomedical scientists, or even with microbiologists. What they are doing, they are trying to analyze their data. Now, I want to tell you some future prospects related to this particular career, like requirement of the companies or maybe universities or institute, not only at international level or national level, but everywhere you go, they will see that how a particular person can be a bioinformatics scientist maybe, because you want to work on various domains, and there you are trying to analyze the data in such a way, so you are trying to solve some problem for that particular domain you are working on, because you cannot work on all the domains at a particular point of time. But what you can do, you can work on a specific research area where you try to solve problem, you try to generate some meaningful information, and that is really good for the academic and scientific community. This is how person can be a bioinformatics scientist also. So normally, if you are having BTech, MSc, MTech, or PhD in this domain, then you can grow your career like that. Similarly, being IT professional, because you know the computational biology or bioinformatics, these two domains are specifically having lots of IT content in it, programming content, IT content. So you are like a trained software engineer or IT professional also. So you can make your career in this domain also. You can go up to higher level like administrative jobs in the same area, which can be related to data analytics, data visualization, image processing. So many things are available in the background. Similarly, you can be a technician. Suppose you just want to do BTech or MSc, and after that you're looking for a job. You can be a technician related to this domain, and you can work on various activities. Similarly, if suppose you are good in writing, then you can be a technical writer also. And there are various domains like biological technical writer, biological content writer, technical writer in bioinformatics, IT technical writers. But if you look at the research technical writing in this domain, either it's biology, biotechnology, bioinformatics, biomedical, pharma, or drug, then PhD is normally required. But the first four, if you see, you can go even with the BTech or master's degree through that. Now, coming to the second part of my presentation, where, as I told you, the first I would like to introduce this area to you. Now I would like to go on how this bioinformatics or maybe associated domains like genomics, proteomics, machine learning, data mining, artificial intelligence, systems biology, could help us in the analysis of this heterogeneous data. And finally, they help in the generation of meaningful information. So this here I would like to tell you little bit about the human disease also and how our lab is working, and even similar kind of protocols, tools, databases could also be utilized for that. So first let's go with the cancer. You know, this is one of the most serious problem of global level or even in our society also, which involves abnormal cell growth, and it has a potential to invade or spread to other parts of the body also. More than 100 type of cancers are affecting human. Like tobacco use is the cause of about 22% of cancer deaths, and these studies are having some background data also. 10% is due to obesity, poor diet, lack of physical activity, or excessive drinking of alcohol. Now, why this is happening? Because nowadays, you know, lifestyle is changing. So many diseases are associated with lifestyle also. So being the young researcher, being the student of a college or university, we should not always look for solution of these kind of problems. We should look for the cause also. What is the cause? Can we work on that cause? Why this problem is happening in society? If we can change the daily routine, we can change the diet, we can go with the physical exercise, so many things can change. But in today's life, you know, stress is more because of last 2 years COVID situation, and all other things are there. So many complexities are there, and they are actually creating problems. So we should be careful about that thing also. It's not always necessary that problem is there, so we should look for the drug or medicine and the cure only. But we should look for the cause, and we should start working on that. Maybe results will come after 5, 10, 20 years, but this is our responsibility. Being a responsible person of our society, we should look for those things also. Other factors which include like certain infections, exposure to ionizing radiation, and environmental pollutants also. And approximately 5 to 10% of cancers are due to inherited genetic defects from persons patients. So inheritance is also working in the background, but majorly diet and other aspects are there. Now, if you look at the global cancer incidence, you see 18.1 million new cancer cases. This is the condition of Europe, the Asia, Americas, Africa, and other continents. So, and this number is really growing everywhere, and it's a serious problem. In Asia, if you look at this, 48.4% number of cases, and it's growing every day. So this is a serious problem, and we have to be serious about it. Now, as a part of research team, we were working on some of the DNA repair associated malignancies. Like we worked on colorectal cancer. We made a computational protocol, like you can see over here, colorectal cancer protocol, where we were working on various kind of data sets, and we were trying to identify some uh, biomarkers through this kind of analysis. So I just want to give you a glimpse of all these analysis. So when you are working in bioinformatics, you are applying lots of statistics like hypergeometric distribution of association of ranked genes you want to identify. You want to work on various kind of pathways. So this all kind of analysis involve. You want to work on biological sequence, or you want to work on biological structures also. So if thing is site specific analysis for mutations, if you want to do, so you can see here, these are the amino acid residues. Like you want to mutate one residue, which is normally happening in some cases, and that particular mutation in one residue of amino acid can cause a disease and can cause problem. It can be causing the structural disturbances to the protein involved, and that is finally going to cause a disease. So this kind of analysis can also be done over here, which where we have a specific domain, that is structural bioinformatics. Now, if problem is there, you have to design some new drugs. For that, we have computer-aided drug design, and these are all the branches of bioinformatics. Now, as I told you, systems biology is another domain where you want to apply the network-based approach to study the dynamics of some pathways and their regulatory elements which are involved in diseases. Like here, this particular is for colorectal cancer. So we were working on developing some computational pipelines, and then we were analyzing the data. We were trying to simulate all those pathways, and based upon the simulation, we were trying to analyze them and small modules, where one study was related to the network motifs. You can see these are network motifs. Motif is something like a very important part of, you can say, a sequence or a structure. When you say structure, you usually found near the active site, and that is really important to deal with it. Similarly, you can look for the significance profile. Like here, this 3 to 7 is actually number of nodes in a network. So 3 node to 7 node network you are identifying, and their significance, like respective significance. The lower number of nodes are having more significance, higher number of nodes and complexity is increasing, having less significance. So we have to look at the smaller level, then we accumulate that to make a bigger module, and then you go for the whole pathway, and then you go for the whole network also. So this is how you are going on. So outcome of such studies can be like, you can provide some putative biomarkers to the scientific community, or maybe this information could be very crucial for the experimental biologists, so they can test and verify it in their laboratories through experiments. Now coming to the second part of this disease problem, like neuronightmare, we are calling it like dementia. So this, there is a silent epidemic that is sweeping through India, and our society is definitely ill prepared to deal with it. We are really not prepared for it. We are calling it like maybe aging, but besides aging, we have these kind of problems also. So every year about 3.5 million persons will get afflicted by the neurological disabilities, physical damage of the brain causing loss of normal function, and this does not include those born with the congenital defects of the brain. Like this particular article I read when we started working on this particular disease in 2010. This was the article in Times of India, because we are reading lots of articles related to this neuro nightmare. So when you look at this Alzheimer's disease, here you see the neurons, and you know there are 86 billion neurons in human brain. Perpetual means during the whole lifetime. So these 86 billion neurons which are actually communicating, and how much complexity you can easily imagine, the 86 plus billion neurons. And when there are problems, these neurons are dying actually, and we have either amyloid beta plaques or neurofibrillary tangles. These are the two major problems which are creating problem in our brain. If you look at this brain, this outer dotted line is the healthy brain size, and this is the shrunken brain of the human, and this is after Alzheimer's disease. So this part that is shrunken is actually creating problem, and we are having memory loss and so many other problems. So this particular disease is really severe, and which is the most common form of dementia, and AD is contributing 60 to 70% for this particular disease, and more than 4 million people in India have various form of dementia. Normally it is in older age, but now it is happening at younger age also. And global impact of dementia, if you want to see, you can easily see that how much money might be involved. It will triple to 152 million by 2050, and US dollar 2 trillion by 2030. So the seriousness of this problem, we need to look at it. We need to start working towards the betterment of this kind of conditions. Now the factors which are involved, like genetics can be there, but there are some other factors. History of the head trauma, maybe smoking, diabetes, reduced physical or cognitive activity, and circulatory risk factors, and then increasing age. So these are some of the important factors. Some of the factors like aging, we know that we cannot stop, but at least we can manage those things in a better way. This is how we need to work on. These are some of the symptoms, like forgetting words, memory loss, problem in speaking, reading and writing, poor judgment, misplacing things, difficulty in performing routine tasks. Even at the later stage, they forget who they are, how to eat the food and all these things. So this is really serious problem. It is majorly divided into 5 stages: mild cognitive impairment, mild AD, moderate, moderately severe, and severe. So these are the 5 stages of Alzheimer's disease. There are some treatment options actually. These are FDA approved drugs, like some choline stage inhibitors are there. One is this NMDA receptor antagonist, and recently we got one this combination of memantine plus donepezil combination therapy. So in one of our projects, we were trying to identify some natural compounds which could be working as choline stage inhibitors also. So I just give you a glimpse of that study, like you are applying data mining, like this is an example of a decision tree that we generated and published. Some important graphs where you want to study the topological parameters of biological networks. So lots of computation is involved, and then you generate some information related to the study that you are making on biological network or pathway. You are working on maybe gene expression or microarray data set. So all these kind of analysis, you are generating volcano plot, you are doing principal component analysis, you are generating self-organizing maps, that's SOM analysis. So all these kind of analysis, and then network motif analysis. This just give you a glimpse that how various kind of analysis could be performed on this kind of data to generate important information. Then this particular methodology was for molecular docking and MD simulation studies for the work that we did under this project. So here we were trying to identify some natural compound. You look at this ascorbic acid, as we know that vitamin C, there caffeine, gallic acid, and quercetin. And we were trying to identify the acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. This project was funded by Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR. So we worked on this project, and then we developed like RMSD of different compounds, all these 6 compounds. Donepezil, as you know, is an established drug. Bigacycate we took as a chemical control, and then 4 natural compounds were there, and we performed all kind of studies with this. And then we identified RMSD, the RMSF, like root mean square fluctuation, and we worked on the various kind of in vitro assays also. And then we identified that how the established drug, maybe this control is there, and you can see all these bigacycate, donepezil. So how these were influencing, or they were available towards the analysis of this data. So if you look at this graph, in vitro neurotoxicity assay, we were able to observe that caffeine and quercetin were working very efficiently. They were either comparable or even better than the already existing drugs. However, the amount required was little more in, but still they were very positive results. So this is how these interesting findings could be identified. Like we are saying that, okay, caffeine and quercetin found to be good inhibitors of ACHE, and these molecules or the food rich in these molecules might be beneficial in improving the cholinergic signaling during Alzheimer's disease. So this is one such thing. Then I have another ICMR project that is going on actually, where we are working on the tau. That is another cause for Alzheimer's disease. Now, some technologies for information sciences could also be applied. If you look at the database technology, our lab is involved in development of various kind of databases. So we have developed various web-based applications, websites, and databases also. I will just give you glimpse of few databases that we have developed. Like this one is DRGAS, like the DNA repair associated genetic association studies database that we developed for identifying some DNA repair associated genes that we were working on and how they are involved in human malignancies. So this database we developed, and then there are other databases also. Here you can search for various kind of mechanisms and you go further with the analysis of the data. Similarly, this dream cells, which is again based upon the repair mechanism, but specifically related to colorectal cancer, endometrial cancer, and Lynch syndrome. So this database also was published in PLOS One. Then we have another database, ADGAP, that was specifically for genetic association studies on Alzheimer's disease along with their phosphorylation states. Then this ABCD, you know that one dance program was there, ABCD. At that time we were working on the database. So I put purposely the name like ABCD, okay, Alzheimer's disease biomarkers comprehensive database. Movie was there, ABCD actually, yeah. So this was all about the domain of bioinformatics and its applications to various human diseases. Now I would like to give you a glimpse of our BTech bioinformatics students who are signing all over the world at global level. Prashant, after doing BTech, he did masters and now pursuing PhD from USA. Dr. Gurnur, from here he did BTech, then he went to Bonn University, Germany for masters. Then he completed PhD from Netherlands and now got a very good position in a company in Denmark. Siddharth, he worked in this KTH Royal Institute, Sweden, which is always in the top 20 institutes in the particular domain. Similarly, Iksha, she was placed in companies like Cognizant, Infosys, and Roots Analysis, but she preferred to go for the master's program in Germany. So many of our BTech Bioinformatics program students, they are going for doing masters from abroad normally, and they are doing it from India also. Like Satyam, now settled in Belgium. Mansi completed masters from McGill University, which has world ranking of 32, and now she got a job also. And her program was fully funded through scholarship. This from SERB DST, NPDF they are giving. So these are some of our NPDFs. They are working in various research laboratories. Monica was my PhD student. She was the first NPDF from JP University. So these are the shining stars of our department. Either we are doing BTech Biotechnology, BTech Bioinformatics, Masters, PhD. Now we have some student exchange programs also with University of Nebraska, Omaha and South Dakota School of Mines, USA. So these are some of the students. They are going from here to work over there. So this they send a picture from SDSMT, USA. Now some extraordinary achievers. They are again BTech Bioinformatics students. Siddhant Kalla, after pursuing BTech from JUIT, completed MTech from Computational Biology from IIIT Delhi, and now doing PhD from USA. Vidushi just completed Masters from University College Dublin, 18th in the world ranking. RC completed Masters from Queen Mary's University of London. And then some more, like after doing BTech in Bioinformatics from JP University, this Muskan and Mehak, they were twin sisters and they received multiple offers. Like she received 4 Masters offer, 2 PhD offers and 1 campus placement. But she had just joined now Iowa State University, USA in Bioinformatics and Computational Biology directly from PhD after BTech. Then from her batch, Maharshi Kala got 2 masters offer. Agam Misra got 6 offers of masters from various universities of Europe. And now she's going to join Bonn University, Germany. Then Muskan, then Mehak is here. 3 masters offer, 2 PhD. She also joined Iowa. Then Piyush Mohanty, again 4 offers. So these are some of the extraordinary achievers of our department. Ankush, he did BTech Bioinformatics, passed out in 2013, then came back to us. He did PhD with me and now working as a postdoc in USA, Children's National Hospital,
Dr.
USA.
Singh,
Now,
sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Singh. Maybe the voice is low. Somebody is saying this thing. Could you please increase the voice if it is? But in my side, it is clearly audible.
Okay, maybe at that end, this might be the problem, but I can be a little more louder, no problem. But it's just the end actually we are doing now.
Thank you, sir.
So this is all about like a glimpse of the domain that is really interesting to work on, then its research areas. And now this is not the end actually. It's not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. So when you are here in your life and your goal is here, you have to do lots of efforts consistently. There is no shortcut to success. Every time you have to make efforts, and definitely if you are making efforts, there are chances that you will definitely be successful. So definitely I would like to acknowledge here, first of all, my department, my Center of Excellence, EHTI, and the whole university, JUIT, my lab, my students, and special mention to Dr. Jiten for organizing this kind of webinars and Mrs. Somlata for all kind of technical help in the background. This is my web address, bioinfoindia.org/Raj. If you want to know more about it, my lab, my work, and I am always available to you. If you are having any queries, you can send me an email. I am always available to you. This is the lab page. Here's my PhD student. Priya is now Netherlands. Manika was NPDF. Aswani and Ankita, they are working as RA. Ankush is working in US. Nupur is working with Institute of Bioinformatics, Bangalore. Rohit and Arvind, they are doing PhD with me still. This is another beautiful view of our campus. So as I told you, this is the place I'm sitting, academic block. These are the, here we have temple, helipad and all the facilities. And you can see the greenery and the beautiful environment all over. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. If you have any queries, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Dr. Singh, we do have 2 queries from Dr. Mohan Kumar S. So should I take the query now?
Sure, please.
Okay. So Mohan Kumar is asking, are there any database for bacterial identification based on biochemical techniques?
Okay, definitely, Mohan Kumar, there should be some databases because that's not my exact domain. But yeah, definitely, if you want, I can explore them and I can even give you the idea related to that. But nowadays, all kind of databases are available. Only thing is that sometimes some databases are having some specialized information and some are having some hybrid information. So this kind of like biochemical technique or bacterial identification you want to have, you cannot say that okay all kind of information will be available, but definitely if some work has been done, some information should be available in some of the resources for sure. We just need to look at with a specific search.
Dr. Singh, there's another query from the same center. The listener is asking how to develop an in silico database. What are the prerequisites for that?
Okay, yeah, very nice question, because if suppose you are a novice user or you are a beginner, then definitely there are some things like, first thing is, whenever you are planning any kind of database, first you need to identify the exact information, like what kind of information you want to include in that database that is related to the data, the first thing. So the first thing is the data, and second thing is the technology that you want to use. Because suppose you want to present it to the scientific community, definitely you need a website for that. So you can use website where you can use HTML, maybe JavaScript, along with CSS or any other scripting language. Now the second thing is, when you want to connect database with your GUI, you have to utilize some database technology also, like RDBMS. So like I can suggest you MySQL. MySQL is available very like free to each one of you. So you can just download MySQL, you can learn it and you can implement it. Regarding the background language like server side programming, because when you are connecting database with the GUI, you need to implement the server side programming also. So what you have to do, you have to connect your client with the server. For that server side programming, we can use Perl, Python, PHP, Java, C++, or any other programming language. So this is how these technologies could be useful to develop a database.
Dr. Tirath, Miss Renuka has raised her hand. Miss Renuka, if you want to ask the question, you can ask. Miss Renuka, am I audible to you? Miss Renuka Jyoti?
So, madam is on some official work, so
Okay,
she
sir.
cannot answer any question. Sorry for
Oh, please.
inconvenience.
It's okay. So I think there is no query related to this. So this is another query, Dr. Singh. Dr. Mohan Kumar is asking, is it required to learn a language prior developing a database?
Okay, yeah, definitely. You know, when you want to develop a database by yourself, definitely you need some computations for that. Like at least one programming language, if you know, HTML is very easy. Like if you want to learn HTML, you can do it in a week or 10 days or maybe a month maximum. But when you learn the programming language, it may take some time. So definitely you need to implement it through programming language, because you cannot create database by just clicking the buttons. There are some facilities, some softwares available actually, where you can go and clicking the buttons, you can create the database and you can develop a website also. But yes, definitely if you want to manipulate data in a good way, you want to develop a very good database, then definitely you need some programming language for starting it. As I told you, MySQL is needed for the background, HTML can be for the website, and at least one scripting language is required to implement all those codings.
Is there another query, Dr. Mohan Kumar? Is there another query for any of you? So we are just going to end this program. So I'm very thankful to Dr. Tirath Raj Singh for providing his valuable knowledge and for the elaboration of different avenues of bioinformatics. As well as I'm also thankful to all the listeners present here for their valuable times. Good day to all. So you may please fill the form for the certificates. Thank you all. Good day. We're
Okay,
just
thank you
closing
very
this
much.
meeting. Thank
Yeah,
you, Dr.
thank
Tirath. We're just closing this meeting within a few minutes. Please fill the form and thanks a lot.